Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, based on where you are. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're really excited to have you with us. Welcome to the latest session in Exponentia's Powering Your Future with AI Enterprise webinar series. Today's session, Chat with Your Data using Microsoft Fabric and Copilot, is all about bridging the gap between raw enterprise data and real time decision making with a conversational, intuitive, and experience right inside your analytics tools. So let's start with a bit of real context. Across industries, decision makers are frustrated with how long it takes to get answers from their data. Think about a supply chain manager trying to track disruptions across hundreds of SKUs, or a bank's analyst struggling to consolidate risk assessments from multiple business lines. Traditionally, these business questions require custom queries, waiting days for specialized reports, or toggling between scattered dashboards. With Microsoft Fabric, now with Copilot and data agents, turns this model on its head. Now imagine this. In a retail setting, a store lead can ask which products drove the highest margin in the last quarter among our top 5 regions, and instantly receive clear answers all in plain language. For example, at a manufacturing plant, a process lead can chat with live production data to pinpoint downtime causes or surface trends without needing technical support. Another example, finance teams can use Copilot for real time anomaly detection or quick summaries, dramatically increasing speed of audits and compliance reporting. Now, this isn't just a theoretical feature. Vodafone, for example, rolled out Copilot to 68,000 users who now save close to 3 hours a week just by being able to ask for information, generate draft reports, or automate follow ups, all from one place. From Copilot's full integration in Power BI and Fabric, business users at every level can chat with their data, whether it's about sales, operations, or market risks, and get summarized visual answers. So, today we'll get hands on into the following: how Copilot and data agents work together seamlessly with Fabric, Power BI, and Azure data sources, create and use conversational data agents to automate and scale analytics, real-time end-to-end flows from connecting a source, creating an agent, to sharing insights via chat or dashboards. And Exponentia has been working at the forefront of this journey, empowering teams to unlock self service, BI, and accelerate their time to insights while maintaining governance, security, and flexibility. Today, we're lucky to have with us Prathmesh Sable. He is a data and strategy leader with 18 plus years of experience driving transformation through analytics and modern data platforms. He has worked with global organizations like Dell, Autodesk, Shell, and the United Nations, leading data insight, system migrations, and strategic innovation. A Microsoft certified trainer in Fabric and Power BI, Prathmesh also holds certifications in project management, Safe 6, TOGAF, and Microsoft Fabric, and currently heads the Center of Excellence at Microsoft Fabric at Exponentia. So imagine getting reliable narrative answers from your company's data in seconds. That's what we'll be making tangible today. So Prathmesh, with that, I'll leave the stage to you. Over to you, Prathmesh. Prathmesh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, that's the story of every webinar that I have. Thank you, Mansa, for introducing me. I'm glad to be a part of this webinar and tell to our audience uh, how data and AI is going to work together and how things are changing across industries. And I'm looking forward to have a wonderful demo with everyone around that. Right. So to begin with, I would like to start off with a small PowerPoint presentation in which I'll talk about the following topics that couple of topics that we're going to cover as a part of this session today. So Mansa, if you can bring the PPT up. Right. So for everyone, welcome to the chat with the data using Microsoft Fabric and Copilot. This webinar is especially for everyone who has been working on Power BI and who is trying to get into Microsoft Fabric and who also wants to leverage, how Copilot can help you ease your or how Fabric and Copilot can help you ease your reporting side. It's and especially for the business end users as well. Especially people who are not aware about how queries are written, how tax measures are written, how Copilot can help you, or how data agents can help you with that. So today we are going to talk about three different topics on chat with your data. Can you go to the next slide, please, Mansa? Just a slide above. Yeah. So within Fabric, you have the Fabric One Lake ecosystem, wherein you have all your Fabric artifacts that are stored. But within that, how you can leverage this data that you have in Fabric to use, to chat with it. So there are three major elements that you can leverage. So one is your Fabric data agents. So Fabric data agents is how you can read data from your lakehouse, warehouse, semantic model, and you can provide some instructions to the agents. It will also focus upon once you connect your data to this particular warehouses, how you can query to the data agent using a SQL language, and sorry, how you can ask the questions with your data and it will return it back using SQL. And if you're like querying a semantic model, how it will return back the answer. Second, we have Copilot in Power BI. Now there's a very strong area element of Copilot that you have in Power BI, because when you look at Copilot, it's kind of how Copilot will help in creating reports, how it can help you query your reports, and how it can sit on your entire Power BI ecosystem to answer questions on your data. And the third is how you can leverage Copilot Studio. Now how you can integrate agents, combine structured and non-structured data together, so that you get a full-blown AI agent with less minimal intervention and configuration for your organization. So these are the three topics that we are going to cover. So we'll go to the next slide. Apart from this, we have Copilot, which is integrated almost everywhere in Fabric. So we have, when you're creating data pipelines, you have Copilot integrated there. Where you're creating data warehouse, you have some queries. You can leverage Copilot there. You have data science. You can leverage Copilot for you to help you write certain basic queries. And then you have around real-time intelligence if you understand KQL. So you leverage Copilot for your KQL syntaxes, and for Power BI you can ask questions on your data. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide, please, Mansa. So let's talk about data agents in Microsoft Fabric. So data agents are nothing but the conversational agents that are connected to your Microsoft OneLake. And now these data agents are nothing but a virtual analyst. They sit on top of your data. You can use this data agent, as I mentioned. You can publish it with the consumer on Teams, Microsoft 365. You can leverage across multiple channels. They can integrate with multiple sources within your Fabric ecosystem, and it can be used as knowledge, so that you can go ahead and ask questions on your data and it becomes a Power BI data expert. So data agents are like your own virtual analyst or your virtual assistants when you want to query it. And this can also be helpful for developers and also for business users. So on the right side, you see you have all the artifacts that you have: mirror databases, event houses, warehouses, lake houses. Then you have everything of that sits into one lake, which becomes your center place for Fabric. On top of that, you'll have the data agent, which is going to talk to all these artifacts within data agents, and then you can publish this data agent across Teams, Copilot Studio, and Microsoft 365, and also use it in Fabric. Let's go to the next slide, please. Yes. So data agent, how to deliver a data agent in Fabric. So I'm going to just tell it to you now, but how I'll show you a demo of how you can set up a data agent. So data agents is nothing but as I said about conversation agents, it will allow to talk to your data in Fabric. You can curate and create. I would say create, curate, and configure the data export as a data domain. Then you can share data agents with another creators and consumers in Microsoft Fabric. Let's go to the next one, please. Yep. So this is how end-to-end data agent scenario looks like. First you create a new agent in Fabric, you manage the permissions, then you select, data source, which sources you want to connect. So then you have to configure the data agent. So data agents are like, since it's an agent, you have to provide certain instructions to it. And then once the instructions are present, you can test and then publish. Yep. So what we have laid down here, there are three major, three sections. One, how the agent instructions has to be set up. We need to really think about when the agent instructions are being set up. You need to specify what kind of sources are there. You also need to guide the agent to interpret the user intent. Then you also need to, for that, what you should include is, the terminology to the user intent. Like for example, if I'm looking at sales, or how should I provide in, certain questions around it. You should define steps for it to handle certain questions as well, because it's very important. Because a lot of times we say, like AI doesn't work or it is a little vague. Unless you define an instruction, you know the AI doesn't return the output properly. So you need to define the set of questions to it, and you can set a style, response, and tone as well onto it. So the second is data source instructions. So again, you need to provide a clarity how to use each source. This is very important for you, because because when you're looking at either semantic models, or you're looking at your actual warehouses data or lakehouses data, you need to provide the data agent instruction what table means, what is the information contained in each table. Also, you should be able to provide query logic as well, so that the agent it is able to understand what it needs to achieve. So you can provide descriptions of key tables, you can provide table usage, uh, on certain topics, or you can also provide certain values that you're trying to refer to. Again, on the demo I'm going to show you all of that things. And then we have certain example queries, so we can provide a data instruction overflow, how there should be join patterns if you want to provide certain expected values are coming out. So is how you have the data agents create a configuration. Then we have, let's go to the next slide, please. Yep. There's another way of using data agent. You can leverage your data agent within the notebook. You can create and configure notebook using Fabric SDK, Fabric Data Agent SDK, and that will you can help that can help train and test your data agents against ground to data sets. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So these are all the data agents. Now let's quickly talk about Copilot. I know, it is much more like it's better for us to kind of do the demos, but I just wanted to give everyone a kind of a glimpse of how things work across in Fabric and Copilot and AI experience in Fabric F2 Plus. Now, initially we had Copilot only available on Fabric for Fabric users only above F64 SKUs and above. Now, post the Fabric conference, which was in early April, uh, we have Copilot and AI enabled for across all the paid SKUs in Fabric. So suppose if you are on Power BI premium capacity, we would recommend you to migrate to Fabric capacity, so that you leverage all this Copilot from here. Let's go to the next slide. Now there's a full screen of the Copilot experience, which we call as a standalone Copilot, that enables chat across all your Power BI data. So you can find, summarize, analyze your data. Now you can also leverage your data agent and semantic models together without switching the content. It can also lay the foundation around like with the combination of Copilot and M365 chat as well. Let's move to the next one. One last topic I want to talk about is, which I will do a separate session around it. This is around AI Foundry. So AI Foundry is where from the native Copilot that you're leveraging, we can also look at creating questions around our chatbots or your custom chatbots around you know your own organizational data, but with a combination of multiple data sets and also multiple agents. So Azure AI Foundry is majorly used for creating custom chatbots, and you can leverage that using, you can leverage data agents in there. You can leverage your structured, non-structured databases. You leverage non-structured data such as PDFs and so on as well. So on the Azure AI Foundry, we'll have a separate session because it requires extensive learning as well. Whereas this Copilot data agents are quite easy to configure and use. So the whole intent about this the presentation was for you guys to understand how agents can be configured, what is in your data, how you can chat, and how you can leverage the full power of the solutions that Microsoft provides out of the box. So yep, without any further ado, let's go into the demo, and I'm going to share my screen. As my screen up, are you able to see my screen? Not yet. Just give me a second.
Yeah, just a second.
Sorry, it should be up anytime. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, now we can.
Right. So typically here we have our Fabric workspace. So on Fabric you have your Copilot, you have creation of workspace or new items. You can build your first report. Then you have the browse. The browse helps you to browse across multiple solutions. You have the one lake catalog where you can go and manage your one lake. So let me close this, and you can go across your different workspaces and look for all the content within the workspace. Then you have the workspaces tab where you can cross pay like check across all your workspace. The administrators have two specific section, which is the admin monitoring. This gives the admin all the access about how what's going on in its workspace, and you have the my workspace. Along with that, this is on the Power BI side. If you go to Fabric, similar thing, but now you'll see a different look and feel. So there are two elements. To switch from Microsoft Power BI to Fabric, you have to just come here on the top bottom left and switch from Microsoft to Fabric. So once you enable Fabric, you will get all the Fabric workloads or Fabric artifacts that you can create. So this is where you can start learning about Fabric as well. You have the Fabric Learn path here. It will take you to the Microsoft Learn, and then you have the quick access around whatever you have worked across and so on. So to begin with, the very first thing when we spoke about data, we can talk about data agents. So suppose you have a particular medallion architecture that you have created. You have brought your data from many of the sources, and you've developed a medallion architecture like bronze, silver, gold, and from that you want to leverage that data to chat with it, trying to understand how things work across it. Now we can, let's go across. So I'll go to this workspace that I have. So this is on Fabric Explore workspace, which we kind of like, which contains all the demos that I do. And within that, let's try, we have the retail sales performance. So we'll talk about, sales. Now, this specific for this demo, we have created a artifact. So these are data artifacts are nothing but your bronze, silver, and gold. So typically when we create a Fabric data engineering solution, we leverage three layers for data integration. So one is the bronze. The bronze is the primary layer which we also call as a landing layer. So any data from the source that you're bringing to the destination in Fabric, that is always that will always sit in the bronze layer. So that will be the raw copy of the data. Then once the data lands into bronze, you will have the silver layer. So silver layer is much you can think about much more like a cleanse layer. So when I say cleanse layer, it would be much more you're cleaning some columns, you're renaming them, and you're performing some intermediate, you're creating some intermediate tables or joins, intermediate tables, so joining a few tables from the source as well. And you can have multiple you can do multiple things on it, especially on silver, because silver becomes the most it's an intermediate layer which is the most important layer. And then you have the gold layer. Gold layer is the final layer where the data marts are created. And within this, within the gold layer, you will have data aggregation. You'll have some independent data marts, and these data marts are specifically used for your final reporting purposes. So that's one of the that. So once you create these three layers. Now for creating these three layers, you obviously need pipelines. So you can leverage Microsoft pipeline, like pipelines. So in Fabric, so you can have ingestion pipelines, transformation pipelines, curation pipelines, and then within the pipelines, you definitely are going to stitch from your source to destination. And I'll just give you a glimpse of one of the pipelines that we have. So it'll take a while to load. So this is how typically a pipeline looks like. So how you can look up for the source, invoke transformation pipeline, invoke gold pipeline, and so on. So you can leverage, the parameters, variables, and so on. So for every activity, you can set up the connections and set up the destination as well, connections, and so on. So here, one of the key things you want to do is for you to move data across Fabric, you need to understand pipelines. You also need to understand data flows generation too. You can also understand notebooks as well. So again, if I go to the same workspace, if I close this, and I go to the workspace. We can also create orchestration notebooks. So typically when you're looking at Fabric projects, one of the quick tips I would like to give you is, you look at creating ingestion or configuration tables. So this will help you kind of move your data seamlessly without the need for changing the code every time. So once the code is finalized, everything should be parameterized and you can move it across your data. Now, once this is done, for example, now let's get back to our topic where we have the data agents. So now I have all the data sitting in my gold layer, which was here in the data artifacts. And now I want to build an agent on top of this data model. So this gold layer. So what I will do is, let me go back to the retail sales performance and then the data agents. I already have created one data agent, but let me do one thing. Let me create a brand new data agent for you. So I'll click on new item. I'll go to data agent, open this up. Yeah. And I'll provide a data agent the name. So this is my sales data agent. And now let me click on create. Now, once the data agent is created, one of the most important things that you have to do is, first you need to add a data sources in. Now, for me to add a data source, I can go to the data source here, or I can do a setup. Setup is agent instructions. So let's go to data source first. So I can either add it from here, or I can just click plus from here. Now here I can look at which data source I want to bring in. So I want to bring my warehouse. So I can come here, filter for all the warehouses available to me, and then I will see, okay, this is my gold data, and I click on add. Now it will validate the data set for you, and it will go ahead and add this to your warehouse. Now, if you look at this data set here, I have few informations like customer date, product review, supplier, production, sales. Now, since I'm also doing it for the first time live with you guys, I don't know what does my data contains. So before I set up the agent instructions, I'll just say, can you provide, and I will select all the information that I want. Provide and provide information about this data. So now, typically, this agent is going to look at, okay, how can I say? So I would say this is what typical it happens on the data. So can you explain what the fact sales contain? So now it is analyzing data source fact sales. So we are giving it a specific thing. So based on that, fact sales. What I see a fact sales here. Now let me look at it again. Let me clear chat, and then try this again. Let's see. So now if you look at this, it gave me a detail about what does this fact sales table contains. Now what we can do is, typically we can select all the items here, okay, and now we can go and provide agent the instructions about how you want to set this up. Typically I can set data source instructions. I can say how it wants to work across its data, or you can set up example queries and you can add certain examples or import it from JSON. So we'll go with typically uh, how each data source is connected, and along with that how the agent is going to work. So to do that, let me quickly uh, open up the other agent that I have. And data agent, I will just open the chocolate data agent, because where I've already created set of instructions, and I'll just pick up that agent instructions and put it here. So I'll take this. I'm going to put these instructions. So here what we have done is, I've just copied down the existing. So I've said that you are a sales agent to retrieve data from the sources and all the revenue information stored in, say, the fact table, total revenues. I provide the calculations around it. What does each and every how does each and every solution, or how does each and every column is being referenced upon. Now I'll take this out for now. All right. Without the agent, I can still go and ask the question here. I can come here and close this, and I can still go and ask the questions. Can you provide me total sales for year 2025? Now it will still provide me the answers. It doesn't mean that it's not able to provide the sales like the answers to the questions, but it is very important that you provide a detailed level of detailed analysis or detailed instructions to the agent so that it is able to perform it properly. Now I'll come back to the data agent, and here I'll just put in the answers, put in all the instructions I want to provide for the agent, and now I can go and ask the new question. Provide sales every year, and then I come here, make close the agent instructions, and sales every year, and then it'll analyze this data source, which is analyzing the database, and now it gives me, because I only have 2 years worth of data. Now one of the key things is when you look at the response, it took 5 seconds to response, and it also creates a SQL query behind this. So this is very helpful for the developers who want to create certain queries as well. So this is quite helpful, which is kind of I like when we are looking at bringing data in. Now one of the key things is one, this is very standard set of questions, but what I want to create advanced level question, I would say, can you provide me a year on year experience? Provide me a year over year change of sales. Now this is where it can get tricky, because year over year change we would expect it to divide and calculate. So now it will go ahead and do that for you as well. So the sales absolutely, because if you look at the sales, it's up absolutely doubled up. So it's around 102%, which is right. And the way it arrived to the calculation also is will generate a SQL query. So initially, when you're writing bigger queries, it was a little problem, but now it is able to kind of create better queries for you as well. So this is how you can work on the data agent. So that's on the data agents where you're using it from the semantic from your warehouses. Now similarly, I can delete this source, and I can go ahead and put my semantic model. So I can go ahead and search for my Ferrero semantic model, which also is nothing but almost similar data, but this is where I've created a semantic model where I've joined different columns together. So I have the dim customer date, product review, and there are other few tables that we have also added in the semantic model. Now this, what we can do is we can go ahead and select all the columns, right? And we start asking the questions again. So I will say, can you provide me the total sales? So say total sales amount is this, and now I'll ask the same question to or here once you look at this, let's ask the same question again. The What the sales every year? Let's copy this question. Take a while because now it is looking for all the tables in this. So this is the turnover of sales. And now if we look at the next one, the third question, can you provide me year over year change of sales? So here. So you can also go ahead and you leverage data agents to talk to your semantic model as well. So this is very important. Or I would also say that once the agents are set up, you can leverage them to you to look at your data, understand things, and then you can go and publish the agent. So I will just go to my previous agents that I've created, and the similar way you can leverage a maximum of 5 sources together, and we can go ahead and leverage, look at questions, top 10 products by sales, anything from your data that you want to understand. So this is one of the things is very important when you set up you know your agents. You have to set up the agent instructions, and you can test the agents, publish it. Once the agent is published, you can go ahead and share the agents from your workspaces. So I can go to the workspace pack, and I go to the retail sales performance, and under this I have the data agents, and then I can go ahead and share the data agent to anybody in the organization by Teams, by email, by and or I can just copy the link and send it across. Few things that you need to understand. You need to manage the permissions, who has the access to this. Now, one of the things is the moment you start controlling your data, like the moment if you are controlling the access. So if you're setting up row level security on a semantic model, or if you're granting permissions to specific tables using one lake security or using the warehouse, that table is will only be access to the data agent. So it doesn't mean that you create an agent and you publish it to the organization and anybody who doesn't have access still gets the access to it. So it is very important to set up the configurations and permissions across these agents as well. So you need to have users or service principals or security groups as access to the workspaces under managed workspaces, and within that you would be able to then go ahead and send your or distribute your agents across the organization. So in this way you can also control your agent. So this was all on data agents. Then the second piece I'm going to talk about is on the copilot. So for example, you have got a data and you have a semantic model. Now, this semantic model that you have created, which is nothing but joining multiple tables in together, and this tables that you have the same table. I'm going to take the example. You have this fact tables measures created, and this semantic model you have joined it together to create a Kimball architecture or star schema, wherein you are looking at your facts and dimensions around it. Now, how to leverage Copilot for creating your reports? Traditionally, you have the semantic model. We bring the data and then we start importing the canvas, bring the reports in the canvas. Now, this is my semantic model. Now I go to create a new report and I'll get a blank canvas. Now, typically, people who use Power BI who would understand, okay, this is where my typical Power BI report comes in. I can select a measure or I can select any columns. I can select a visualization as well. So I can select a measure table and I would say sales and average order value, and I can put it across any particular product. For example, let me take the brand name for example, and this is how I traditionally create my Power BI reports. You can just look for the visuals and so on. This is how typically this works. But what if you want to leverage AI for this? So this is the blank page. Now let's do is let's open the Copilot pane, and then once the Copilot pane is enabled, you can go ahead and a- ask Copilot content for new page. So you can just ask Copilot, can you suggest based on this data what is my new what content can you suggest? Now to look analyze this data, and it has given me 3 options. It has given me customer insight, product analysis, and supplier performance. So I would let's look at product analysis first. So I click on product analysis and I say create. Now what it does here is it will basically review all your data and it will automatically start creating pages for you. So here, if you look at this, it has automatically create these pages. There's some issue here, or it's a duplicate value, which is fine. Uh, Let me close this, open up the new semantic model. Let me check what the semantic model has. So it says performance, dashboard. And let me look at the image of this. So you can also look at the image of the reports in this way. So let me go back to my Fabric Explorer. Semantic model. Yep. So here we are. Let's open the semantic model. And yeah, so let me quickly show you the new report. And let's go to Copilot. And from Copilot, I can ask it to create a page with key insights. Now, typically, if you look at this, it has created a new page for you. Now, how easy is this, to kind of create new pages rather than, looking for KPI calculations and so on. Copilot will help you analyze your reports and help you create new pages. I can just create a product performance page as well. Create a new page for product performance. And now it will analyze your data and go ahead and, look for how you can chat with your data and create your new pages. And trust me, this is game changing, because this is where self-service BI is, where we're targeting, our customers, our end users, to kind of leverage Copilot and, do self-service BI on top of it. So this is one of the key things that, I wanted to show about how to leverage Copilot. So this is your standard typical Copilot that helps you to create report. So here, if you look at this is a complete product performance page that it is building up for me. I don't even have to go ahead and do any custom design. So I can then obviously go and, create my own pages or own design out of it. But it gives me the visuals that is required for me to create. And this all works on service. You can also leverage this in Copilot desktop as well. And it also provides what it has created. It provides you each and every visual that it has created and what fields or, fields it has used. So that's the thing. Now this is on the report level Copilot. Now, for example, you have created your lot of reports and you want to leverage your Copilot here. So you have the standalone Copilot. So here I can, go ahead and ask Copilot a lot of questions around this. I can say, can you summarize? I hear a background, Manja.
Oh,
So I'm asking the Copilot about, the dashboard that we already have created. And what Copilot typically does is it will look for all the workspaces that I have, and from the workspaces it will go ahead and, search it for me. Or I can also do is, here I can look for this data agent, semantic models, Power BI reports. I can go ahead and search from here, and I can also kind of ask. So for example, let me look at this, and I would say, Ferrosher dashboard. Let me just take this out, and I can, let me select Ferrosher dashboard. And now what it will do is it will go ahead to the dashboard, scan the entire content. So it'll scan all the relevant filters and slices on top of it, and it'll give you all the visuals that you've created from the report. So generate the summary around it. So if you see, it has created all the visuals that are present in the summary. And now on top of this, you can go and ask questions. So this is the point where, you can leverage standard Copilot to chat with your data, chat with your data agents here itself within this. The beauty about this is, once you switch from Copilot to any other workspaces or reports or items, and if you open up Copilot again, it is gone. It doesn't stores in the memory, because this is the point where, you it helps you. It's a one, you can analyze it one time and leverage it. So that's one thing. Or you can also prep a summary for the same report and so on. So this is on the Copilot that you use in Power BI on top of your data agents, and, and your data as well. The third topic is more in terms of the Copilot Studio. Now once you have all these data agents integrated, you can go ahead and leverage the data agents within your Copilot Studio, and then you can ask the same question. So we have created data agent sales analyst, which basically does the same thing, and you can ask questions around it. So in this way, you can kind of go ahead and uh, so I'll just choose one key insights for the data, and I can go ahead and create multiple agents. I can integrate these agents within teams, and I can leverage that. So that concludes the demo. Uh, Let me know if you have any questions, and over to you, Mansa.
Thank you so much, Prathamesh. Thank you so much for the eye-opening walkthrough of how Copilot and Microsoft Fabric are changing analytics. And it seems that it's really easy to create reports and queries without knowing any of the programming languages.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So now we'll open the floor to some questions. A quick note to the audience: we already have a few questions that I can see, but if there are any more from the viewers, please drop your questions. We'll try to take as many as possible. Okay, let's, without further ado, I have the first question for Prathmesh. This is from Achal. How do you see opportunities to embed this AI-powered copilots inside Teams, SharePoint, and your CRM systems?
Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities. So when you're looking at bringing data which is structured, unstructured, then it is very essential. Then you can bring it across. So for example, if you are working in IT service now, you can leverage that. So that's one of the things. If you're looking at Dynamics 365 CRM, you can bring that CRM data into this, and then leverage data agents on top of it. That's one way of looking at it. Second way is as of now, the Copilot Studio agents are available for integration across M365 Copilot teams and so on. Not on Dynamics as of now because Microsoft has their own. The second thing is you can leverage AI Foundry as well for that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Prathamesh. I hope that answers your question, Achal. Next question is by Zahir. Hello, if you could pick up one use case to pilot this integration, what would it be?
So one of the best use cases that we have came across is IT support. So where you can have the users having questions about resetting passwords or setting up your you know uh, certain steps to solve certain problems. So that's one of the places where you can have certain documents created, and then you can leverage document and you can put it across your IT support team. That will be very easy for everyone to use.
Thanks again, Prathamesh. Next question is by Shashank. Yeah, it's on the screen. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about implementing Fabric data agents or Copilot in any organization using Fabric?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Shashank. So when you're looking at Fabric data agent integration or Copilot, see, one of the key things how well your data is, how well you define your data. If you are able to define your data, on with proper best practices, proper guidelines, then I would say it would be a 10 on 10. But if you're not able to, you just bring everything in, dump that in, you don't have a bronze, silver, gold, you're not doing any best practice on data cleansing and so on, then it's going to be a one because, you know, the agents will react the way you have configured your data and on the instructions that you're providing.
That absolutely makes sense. Yes. Thank you so much, Prathamesh. Next question is by Kajal. How valuable do you think it is to combine Fabric data with unstructured sources like PDF, documents, websites through Copilot Studio?
Oh, that's again a very good question here. So one of the key things, so the reason I spoke about Copilot Studio integration was, so I have a data agent that works on structured data on Fabric. But what if I have non-structured data like PDF? I want to combine both of that together, and that is one of the things that we have seen as a gap always. If the unstructured data works, the structured data doesn't work. If structured data works, there is no way to connect the unstructured data. Now with Copilot Studio, and data agents being integrated in Copilot Studio, you can combine to get them together. Now, one of the good use cases, for example, I am looking at a product, the use case that I showed about chocolates. So I'm combining the product information, but I have how I created the product, the ingredients of that product is sitting on a website where on Ferrosher, if you go to the website, you will see how the product is created. So I can go ahead and combine the structured data for a product and also get data from the website to see how this product was created. So that becomes a very good thing for the end users to understand, okay, this is the product, this was the sales, and this is what the ingredients of the products are. And they can deep dive further into say, okay, what was my, how much quantity of ingredients we have in stock, whether there is enough ingredients or not, if the product is in demand. So this is how you can combine them together using Copilot, Copilot Studio, and then chat with the data as well.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Prathamesh. One last question we have for today. This is from Sakshi Goti. It's on the screen. What potential use cases come to mind where such an integrated chatbot or agent could create immediate business impact?
Yep. So that's a very very good question. The thing, and this is something that we do with our customers as well. So when we work on the final goal layer, and once my final goal layer is ready, I immediately create a data agent on top of it, and this data agent is distributed to all the developers so that they can go ahead and ask questions on the data and then create SQL queries on top of it. And this is also passed to the Power BI developer so that they can start creating reports on it.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much, Prathamesh. That's the end of our questions today. So once again, thank you so much, Prathamesh, for joining us and taking out your time and enabling us all on this topic today. I'm sure we all had a lot to learn from today's session. And to everybody who joined, we hope that you saw the power of being able to simply chat with your data, whether you have live business intelligence, automations, or enterprise scale data transformation. So if you're exploring custom solutions, pilots, or want a one-on-one demo for your use cases, please reach us out to Exponential AI directly. We'll also share the details on the screen. So stay tuned to our page. We'll also be sharing the recording shortly on behalf of the entire team of Exponentia. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next session.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.